You are listening to an exclusive on Pod Pub Network. Your city, your podcast.
To the delight of this crowd, McClendon marches down the dugout steps with first base. McCutcheon's throw. The runner breaks to the plate. Here's the throw. Wow. He is out. The Buccos win.
That ball's hit well to left center field. Back toward the track. And that ball is gone.
You are listening to the North Shore 9 podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Also, make sure to watch NS9 Live every Thursday on Twitch and help support by becoming a patron. Let's go Bucks!
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Starbucs. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me is Jim Rosati. Jim, wonderful Wednesday. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are we doing?
Not too good. Not too good. The Pirates are on a 9-game losing streak. They are officially 23-43. This is why I'm not doing too good. All that, kind of care less about. And here's why. We knew they were going to be bad. Like, I don't know why people are like ready to cut heads off because the Pirates suck. Well, yes, they do. This is why I'm mad. I'm mad because it's getting closer and closer to your 54-win prediction, and not my 61.
You're just upset that it looks like I may be correct.
Yes, that's why. That's why I'm miserable, because they're on a, what did you say? What is it? A 56-win pace right now?
56 win pace right now. Yeah.
So that's why I'm mad.
All right, that makes sense.
Because F you, Jim. Seriously.
I think, was I the only one in the challenge too? Like the whole challenge who predicted 54?
I think there was somebody else. And I'll say every year we get those. I mean, I like it. I put them on all the time. You'll get the people that say like 157 wins, you know, or someone that says like 13. So I'll put them in there. Yeah, we had like a few, like, you know, those in there. But as far as like what looked realistic, I think one other person. So I have it up. So no, you, Bucko Mike, and Jake Kiefer voted 54. We had a 48 and a 44.
Those two aren't going to happen, I don't think. That would be like record breaking.
I mean, maybe.
Maybe, but hey, I mean, my dude Bucko Mike though, you gotta stick with him, right?
Okay, so I take what I said back. I'm pissed because you and Bucko Mike said 54 and are looking more correct. Actually, Bucko Mike eats at me way more than you, Jim. And everyone on Twitter, look out. Like, if they win 54 games this year, just mute Bucko Mike or block them. We're going to have to.
Yeah, it's going to be – he may change his Twitter name to that.
Again, we might even get a profile pic.
Yeah, doubt it.
Anyways, yeah, the Pirates. What, 9 in a row, Jim? The Dodgers,
and it's
Brewers,
still
Nationals.
actually did the Diamondbacks lose again last night?
Probably. If you don't know, just say yes. Right?
The Diamondbacks, I know going into last night were on like a 11 game pace, so they're on
what? Hold on, let me look it up. They
they're
did lose 8-9 to the Giants.
Yeah, so they're now 12 in a row. So somehow the Pirates aren't even the coolest team in baseball.
That's amazing. Yeah, the Diamondbacks are 20-48 right now.
I mean, I thought they would be bad, but their pitching has to just be the worst pitching staff in the majors. Because if you look at their lineup, and we'll just talk about Diamondbacks here for 20 seconds, and then we'll move on. But if you look at the Diamondbacks lineup, it's not bad. Someone tweeted out the other day, I think it was Jared Carabas, they have more runs scored than the Yankees.
Now that says something. It
Yeah,
says two
the
things.
Diamondbacks. Yeah.
The Yankees suck. But also, the Diamondbacks pitching is awful.
No. Diamondbacks have given up 372 runs this year. That is 9 more than the Twins. Twins are the second worst.
And the Twins pitching is awful as well. Yeah, but you're right. Like, that's the thing. Like, the Pirates are bad. And I had no issue with people flirting with 100 loss. Now, I mean, people are saying like 120, this is the worst team ever. And here's why I was getting at. Like, that was kind of egregious. You know, I've seen worse baseball teams, and we're definitely seeing it right now. I mean, the Pirates played the Rockies. You saw that series. You saw the Rockies had. We're talking the Diamondbacks right now. Like, there's some bad teams. So even in the sense of like trying to get a number 1 pick this year, it's a hard challenge because there's a lot of good challengers for that right now. And the Pirates, as bad as they are, they might not even be like the top 4 worst teams. Top 5.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at this purely from a draft, ranking standpoint, yeah, if we're looking at this from a draft, Orioles have lost 6 in a row. But the Pirates do have the worst run differential in the majors. So if that is a predictor of things to come, you know, maybe they get that number 1 overall pick. But yeah, right now it's going to be hard to unseat the Diamondbacks.
So what are we seeing here? I mean, obviously Moran comes back, he gets injured. That's an issue. Cabrian Hayes has cooled off a bit. That's fair to say. He made an error the other day, so I don't know. Maybe he needs a AAA stint. Speaking of AAA stints, Keller goes down to AAA. Let's talk about Keller. I don't think we need to provide too much analysis on the overall team. Everyone knows they're bad. So is it fair to say team bad? And we can kind of forget a lot of the game-by-game stuff?
Yeah, I think so. It's good.
Keller goes down to AAA. Now, there's a lot of dialogue about that, whether it was a good move, a bad move. I think you and I have definitely been on board with, like, just keep him here. Like, why send him down to AAA? Keep him here. Let him work out his stuff. It's a lost season, right? Obviously, if they're competitive, he's probably down. It doesn't even make it to April, the end of April. I don't know, you know. But regardless, keep him up here. But they do send him down. And I'm okay with it. I think you're okay with it. We actually talked about it on NS9 Live before they actually happened. Like, I think it's time, and they do. So give us your overall take and thoughts of why it should have happened, and I guess your thoughts, maybe what you think is going to come on the outside of this.
Yeah, I mean, I think until the last start, I wasn't. I was like, you might as well keep him up here. But that last start kind of did it for me. He just, at some point, you can't just force your bullpen to throw 6+ innings every 5 days, like when Keller comes to his spot in the rotation. So no, it was time for him to go down. And then hopefully what this means is he can just kind of relax, reassess some things, maybe just like hit the reset button, you know. learn what it is to taste success again. Whatever it takes, just the stress of Major League Baseball, just or whatever. I don't know what it was that was messing with him. The stuff too looks like it's regressed. So
Right.
Just figure it out. Figure out who you are, because right now he doesn't know. He's not really a power pitcher. He's not really a finesse guy. He's kind of in between. And yeah, he just needs to kind of find himself.
I mean, we've all been hinting the psyche, with him, just his emotions, how he looks out there. He looks timid. He looks afraid. He doesn't look like he belongs. I mean, this is all just, you can't prove it. This is on the outside looking in type of stuff. Clearly people probably just have that way about them also. And it might not mean anything, but when you're picking at straws and trying to figure something out, that clearly was one of the things. Now he goes down there. I'm all for it too. Like everything you said is exactly correct. He is, to actually use the word liability in a correct tense, he is a liability to this club, and more importantly, a liability to this bullpen. This bullpen has been used quite a bit this year. Now, I know it's something around baseball, but for the Pirates, and it's like we experience this, I feel like every game, like a guy goes out there and throws 70 pitches and gets taken out. And it's like he was actually on a good roll here. His pitching pretty well, and we're still taking him out in the 5th inning. Why can't they go anymore? So like this bullpen is used quite a bit on a normal day. When Mitch Keller can't get out of the 3rd inning, like you're putting even more stress on this bullpen. Like Dwayne Underwood, I feel like is going to have his arm, in a sling here come July because of how often he's being used. Chris Stratton's like another one. Like every bullpen pitcher is being used quite a bit. So it's past the point where it's like, just leave Mitch up here to, we can't let Mitch ruin this team even more than it is, Like we got to keep guys healthy on the other sense. We're protecting all of our starters so much to the sense that we're just throwing our bullpen arms out there all the time. So part of it is that. The other one, like you mentioned, is psyche. Like at least he is better than probably almost every player there. So knowing that he can go down there and just do his damn thing, like focus on him and not so much about all the other situations. The other thing about this is, which I feel is intriguing, Joel Hanrahan. This is a big task for him. And like I look at it this way, Oscar Marin, I'm not going to I feel it would be unfair if Mitch Keller is tied so much to Oscar Marin. Like if he fails Mitch Keller, he's failed completely. Not saying he's done wonders for everyone else or whatever, but I think it'd be unfair to like pin Oscar Marin and Mitch Keller side by side in that sense. But if Joel Hanrahan can turn Mitch Keller around, there's some pedigree to Joel Hanrahan, right? There's a lot of talks about him as a potential, future pitching coach stuff. If he can turn this dude around, what's it say about Joel Hanrahan, and why are you just in AAA still?
Yeah, I'm with you there. So if we're kind of looking at this is like a tryout for Joel Hanrahan. This is kind of like his first. It's like a first big project for him. I mean, obviously he's been working with pitchers throughout the minors for years now, but now he's kind of got this project that is very important to this organization. We hope so. And he's broken. And now, now Hanrahan's going to be tasked with trying to fix it. So if he's able to do that, then yeah, I mean that's a huge indictment on him. Huge, he deserves some credit for that. So yeah, we'll just kind of follow Keller in AAA, kind of see how he does. Hanrahan was on 93.7 The Fan, I think it was yesterday. Kind of said a little bit about what the plan was, right? But he kind of reiterated just kind of what we've been saying this whole time, right? Like just
feel validated, Jim.
Yeah, a little bit. He was like, you got to go out there and you got to think you're a dude, right? And so that was kind of one of the things he said about Keller. But it sounds like they're gonna take an approach where he's not going to have like a full workload down there. He's going to kind of ease back into it, kind of have like a second spring training, not have to go out there and worry about pitching 6 or 7 innings every time out. Just go out there, have some success, but not necessarily, go out there and throw 100 pitches every time out. So that's what it sounds like the plan is. So it'll just be something to watch out there. I think, let's see, he started on Saturday. So
I think
he'll probably start on Friday.
I'm all off on days completely.
Yeah, yeah, you are. You thought it was like Sunday yesterday. But, but no, I mean, we'll probably see him pitch for the first time, Friday or so. So, we'll see how he does.
Correct. And I'm excited about that. And I guess for the people that were saying this is just pointless. It's just delaying the inevitable, going down here is not going to fix him. I call bullshit on that. Like, what gives you any implications that this is going to mean nothing? There's clearly been many of players that have not had success up here. They went down the AAA, whether it's a pitcher, a hitter, or whatever. And, they figured things out whatever they needed to do. It was done. They came up as a totally different person, totally different player. And I'm not in a sense even comparing this to Roy Halladay, but that's a very good example of one. Roy Halladay went down to the minors, and then when he came back up, that was the Roy Halladay you knew forever. That he became a dude.
Yeah.
Not that Roy Halladay was never as bad as Mitch Keller also. Right. And I don't feel Mitch Keller is going to become Roy Halladay by any means, right? Yeah. I'm just using the example of one time a pitcher who just went down, worked on things, came back, and then just boom, that's what he needed.
I mean, there are countless pitchers out there who took a while to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's tons of them. The best pitcher in baseball right now, Jacob deGrom.
That's a good, yeah.
Didn't figure it out until he was 26. Yeah. Like deGrom was not
figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, it's not like this means that Keller's career is over, right? And I mean, you talked about Halladay a little bit. Halladay didn't really figure it out until 24. Keller's 25 right now. Mm-hmm. But I mean, these are people who went on to become Hall of Famers, right? I mean, by no means are we saying Keller's going to do that, but what I'm saying is
even the Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Even the Hall of Famers.
Yeah. Even some of the greatest pitchers in baseball sometimes don't figure it out right away.
Right.
Now, sometimes you don't figure it out and you never figure it out. Right. But
yeah. And that's just what he is at this point, Mitch Keller. We don't know what he's going to be. And I think expectations have definitely tempered quite a bit, but I just feel that this is the correct move. You and I think are definitely on the same page here that this is the correct move. Keeping him in the majors, it's not so much that he's got to figure out the majors. Keep him there, he will, whatever. He's becoming a liability to this team. He's hurting the club. This is no longer about him. It's about the other players that you're also in charge of managing and worried about. So if you're going to have him affect those guys, now you got a problem. Not an issue, it's a problem. So getting him down in AAA alleviates that problem you have, and maybe he can still work on himself there. All right. So maybe we'll move on from Mitch Keller. I mean, again, not too much really stood out. Everyone's been basically doing exactly what we've been talking about all year. We can talk about how Adam Frazier's still going on, and Jacob Stalling still looks pretty good, and Brian Reynolds is, awesome. And everyone else sucks,
I mean, he still looks good. I mean, he has a hit streak snapped yesterday, but he got on base. I mean, he's fine.
he's still, at least now he's human now. He hasn't been human yet. He's finally officially a human being. And he made an error, so that sealed the deal.
Did make an error.
I gotta turn my alarms off. I don't know if you can hear this, but I'm officially on vacation mode. And anyways, so nothing I guess out of the ordinary. Maybe we can talk a little about JT Brubaker. I just want to bring it up a little bit because he still looks pretty damn good. And even when he's not good, he still looks good. Like there's been a few starts this year. Like he just hasn't had his stuff, but he's battled through and almost every time, except for like maybe one or two outings I can recall, he's put together a pretty good start, if not a really good start.
Yeah, I feel like what's happened with him a lot of starts is he'll maybe like start off a little shaky and then he'll put together 3 or 4 really good innings and then something happens and he has to get pulled, right? Mm-hmm. It would be nice to kind of see him go out there and just like shove for 7 innings. I don't think we've seen that yet, right? Like he always has like one blemish. He did go out there and pitch 6 scoreless a few starts ago, but that would be.
There was 1 or 2, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, he has always had like the 1 inning.
Yeah, and what just sucks about having the 1 inning is this offense is so anemic that 1 inning and you could lose the game, right? 3-2 because the offense isn't going to score more than 2 runs for you.
And that's another thing here. Just to slide in here, does it always seem as if like Brubaker always gets these type of lineups? Like when someone's taking the day off, it's always because I've tweeted out, I can't tell you how many times Brubaker looking at the lineup and saying, "Oh shit, here we go again." It's like Brubaker has to go out there and battle every time he's on the mound because he just knows he's not going to get any offense.
I guess even if you're playing the best lineup available, this lineup still is pretty rough. So, but yeah, if one of those main guys is off, then it's even worse. I mean, when you have Eric Gonzalez batting 5th and playing first base, then there's just nothing you can do about that.
Right. Newman leading off.
But no, he looked good. I think he went 5 innings, 4 runs. He only struck out 1 batter this time. I think that was his lowest strikeout total of the year. But he was avoiding getting people on base. I think he gave up a home run, if I remember. No home runs.
3 straight starts without a home run, by the way, when that was kind of becoming almost like an Achilles heel for him.
Yeah, so that's good to see there. This Nationals team, though, again, it just not good. Yeah.
Yeah. When we talk about powered cast-offs, they got Jay Hay and Jordy Mercer playing. They have Schwarber playing a cast-off from the Cubs. They traded for Josh Bell. It's pretty bad. It's like Trey Turner, Juan Soto, and then a bunch of 2021 Pirates.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird lineup because you have a bunch of guys who, Schwarber can hit home runs, but that's really it.
And he's not really
much of a he's not really much of a hitter or an on base guy for that matter. He gets on base okay, but yeah, Trey Turner is one of the best shortstops in baseball, and then you have Juan Soto, who is having a down year by his standards, but still overall very good.
His standards as like a 23-year-old.
Yeah, right. But then, you look down the rest of the lineup. Jay Hay actually probably should be this team's leadoff hitter, based off of his numbers. Victor Robles is getting on base, but he's not doing anything else. Mm-hmm. That's a guy. Victor Robles is a guy who I thought he would develop by now, and he might still, but I figured by now he would be like one of those better center fielders in baseball. Just hasn't really turned into it.
He's a great defender.
The defense is clearly there, but I was thinking Robles was going to be like a like a Starling Marte type guy,
Yeah.
And he hasn't turned into that.
Which I won't get into the dialogue. I kind of want to about that, but anyways, So I know it's not like the best team, obviously, but he does. The last 3 starts he faced Colorado, faced the Dodgers, faces the Nationals, and like you said, he had 1 strikeout. Like his stuff wasn't there last night, but the guy definitely battled through, and the Pirates could have won. He gave them the opportunity to win at least, and they didn't because they stink. But I just wanted to highlight again, Brubaker. Brubaker has been by far, I think, the biggest surprise to me. He he has earned the spot in this rotation for the foreseeable future. Like at this point in time, it's been 12 starts. Still just 12 starts, right? But I've always looked at Brubaker like, he's going to be a really good reliever. But as a rotation guy, I don't know. But I'm excited for him. And he's put it like, I'm sorry, this guy, he's a dude. Like you said, he is a dude. He has that mentality. If only he had like Mitch Keller's stuff, like if you could blend Keller and Brubaker together, that's a really good pitcher.
What do you think? There have been a couple. We haven't actually talked about this yet. So, and Brubaker kind of falls into this. Derek Shelton's been real quick on the pulling starting pitchers.
Yeah.
Brubaker 5 innings. He was pitching really well, when he came out, and 71 pitches. And it's not like he even came up in the line
like the limit anymore.
Like, he wasn't like pinch hit for in the 5th. He didn't bat in the 6th. Why? I get you're maybe limiting workload this year. Like, is 70 pitches that limit? Like, is that the new limit for this rotation? Because it seems like that's it. Like, once the pitcher goes 5, he's done.
It really does. Like, it seems like the 70 pitch mark is the new 100 for this team. Like, once you're at 70, we're kind of, which it also is kind of funny. Like, so they let Will Crow. I'm not going to go too deep in this, but like, one of the issues, Sheldon's had a better year, and I think we put more of a pass on him this year for situations than last year, because last year was just awful, plain awful. Like, you probably couldn't get any worse, right? It's not that we're saying too much that he's better this year, but he has improved. But like, when he let Will Crow hit with bases loaded and then pulled him after one batter the next inning, like, what was that about? And he was at the 70 pitch mark, Will Crow.
Yeah.
But you let him hit with bases loaded. But then at the 10 pitches, like, nope, can't do it anymore. So like, either like at that point, like, that would have made sense to pull Will Crow then. I'd have been all for it at that point. Like, oh no, Will Crow needs to be pinch hit here. There's bases loaded. You have a chance to win it right here. What are you doing leaving Will Crow in? That would be a good opportunity. But then you have guys that are actually pitching really well, and then they get pulled after 70 pitches in the 5th inning. You're like, why didn't you let him keep going? I understand the innings management, the workload this year. But again, it just seems that we're helping so much. We're being so beneficial to the starters. We're being so careful with them that it's 70 innings. But yet the relievers are pitching way more than normal also. Like I said, like, under what I think is the top 3, if not, top person now after last night with innings pitched. Stratton's up there. Like Holmes is pitching all the time now. Like, all these guys are pitching, it seems like, every other day. So by protecting all our starters, we're just clearly throwing all our bullpen arms out there every single day. Who cares about those guys?
And I think I always go back and forth on the whole DH, no DH thing, right? The one thing I really like about the DH, and it's probably my favorite thing about it, is that it takes away because more often than not, I just don't like managers and their decisions, right? I feel like National League Baseball just makes managers' brains turn into pretzels. Like, they don't know what to do. And if you take that part away from it, then I get less frustrated with the managers. I understand the whole argument like that people have about how, that's all a part of the game, right? That's what makes National League Baseball special, is you've got these decisions that need to be made. And I get that. Like I said, I go back and forth on the issue all the time. But my favorite thing about American League Baseball is you don't have managers just doing stupid stuff, right? At least not as much. I mean, you look at Brubaker, right? What was the longest outing of Brubaker's season was 7 innings at Minnesota, right?
Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota. But there you go. American League Baseball, Brubaker is able to stay in there, and I mean, I'm sure we can look at other people and it's a similar situation. But gosh, I just like it when that decision gets taken out of their hands because it's typically the wrong one.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so we're gonna stick to some pitching situations here, not so much players. So obviously, MLB's cracking down on the substance. I think we have some takes here. We have some questions, but I want to start off by throwing out there some Tyler Glasnow video because I feel bad for him. You know, I mean, obviously he's going to be forever linked to the Pirates and that trade and whatever, but throw that out here. Tyler Glasnow seems like a pretty good dude. Seems like a really cool dude. He's pitching fantastic for the Rays right now, and now he has a partially torn UCL, potentially out for the year. They're going to rehab it, but like if it goes to Tommy John, you can say he's out for all of next year, and then he's on his last year of arbitration before he becomes a free agent with the Rays, which also might mean, has he pitched his last pitch for the Rays? I don't know. But Tyler Glasnow had some things to say about MLB and this situation. So let me go ahead and play this video for you guys to listen to. We'll talk about it.
I 100% believe that contributed to me getting hurt. No doubt, without a doubt. I think like it's ridiculous. Like I have used sticky stuff before. It's ridiculous that like it seems like this whole public perception of like, oh, it's just like select few people. Like your favorite pitcher probably 50 years ago was using something too. Like if you felt these balls, how inconsistent they were, like you have to use something. So in the past, my like substance of choice is sunscreen and rosin. Like just nothing egregious, something to where I can get a grip on the ball so it doesn't feel dusty. But 2 starts ago against the Nationals, I went cold turkey, nothing. And before that start, I remember when all this stuff came out, I was talking to people and talking to doctors, and they were like, the thing that maybe MLB doesn't realize or that players don't realize is like, what is the injury? Like, what is the prevention of like, maybe it'll add to injuries. And in my mind, I was like, that sounds dumb. That sounds like an excuse a player would use to make sure he can use sticky stuff. But I threw to the Nationals with nothing. I don't use sticky stuff I don't use spider tack. I don't need more spin. I have huge hands. I spin the ball fine. I want grip. I did well against the Nationals, probably one of the best starts I had all year. I woke up the next day and was like, I am sore in places that I didn't even know I had muscles in. Like I felt completely different. I switched my fastball grip and my curveball grip. I've thrown it the same way for however many years I played baseball. I had to put my fastball deeper into my hand and grip it way harder. And I had to, instead of holding my curveball at the tip of my fingers, I had to dig it deeper into my hand. So I'm like choking the shit out of all my pitches. My cue I used to use with Snyder was hold the ball like an egg, like nice and loose, be loose. That's out of the window. So I now have to develop a new cue. I have to develop something where I can't hold the ball light anymore. I have to dig it deep into my hand. So I'm taking it, and you have to think, I'm not a doctor. I know you guys probably know that. But I'm taking a fastball. I'm squeezing the ball twice as hard. So all of this is I'm recruiting all these muscles, and I'm taking my arm as hard as I can. So I'm going from like a flexed muscle to letting a ball go. And like I said, I was like, maybe it's not going to, I don't think it'll lead to any injuries. But waking up after that start, I was like, okay, this sucks. Something is weird here. And then that same feeling is persisting all week long. And then I go into my start yesterday, and that same feeling just, it pops or whatever the hell happened to my elbow. Like I feel it, something happens. And I'm sitting out there just like, you got to be fucking kidding me. The whole day yesterday, I'm sitting there trying to get a grip on a ball. And I'm not trying to blame anyone. I'm not trying to say like, oh, this is all MLB's fault. Like they got thrown into this situation too. They're doing the best they possibly can to navigate around this. They're trying to make this fair for people. I understand that. But you can't, whether you want us to not use sticky stuff or not is fine. Fine. Do it in the off season. Give us a chance to adjust to it. But I just threw 80 something, 70 whatever innings. And then you just told me I can't use anything in the middle of the year. I had to change everything I've been doing the entire season, everything out of the window. I have to start doing something completely new. And then I'm telling you, I truly believe that's why I got hurt. Me throwing 100 and being 6'7" is why I got hurt, but that contributed. And so I'm just frustrated that like they don't understand how hard it is to pitch one, but to tell us to do something completely different in the middle of a season is insane. I just don't, it's ridiculous. There has to be some give and take here. You can't just take away everything and not add something. Pitchers need to be able to have some sort of control or some sort of grip on the ball. And I just don't want things like this to happen to somebody else. I don't want a fastball to sail away and hit somebody in the face like it already has. So I just think, like, I understand you need to take an aggressive approach here, but like, I just think people are going about it all wrong. And I'm sitting here, my lifelong dream, I want to go out and win a Cy Young. I want to be an all-star. And then now it's all just shit on, because now it's over. And and now I have to try and rehab to come back in the playoffs. So I'm clearly frustrated. It's just, I think there needs to be a lot more. People need to figure this out. You can't just tell us to use nothing. It's crazy.
So that's Tyler Glasnow. I mean, I think he makes some really, really, really good points. And I want to start off by saying this. There's a lot of people out there that have seen this, either just read the tweet, right, of what he said, summarizing it, or saw the video, and they say it and say, who cares? You're cheating. This is an excuse. You know, you're cheating. All you're doing is saying you're crying now because you can't cheat anymore. And Tyler Glasnow, bad guy. I want to put out, I'll start first. We'll get your take on here. But I look at this and say, I'm sorry. He's not the bad guy at all. Unless, based on what he said. Because what he said is he uses rosin and sunscreen. For not standing up for your league. You don't care about your league at all. You know, if you're always so worried about the public, that you're out there trying to change so many rules because of the public and the people, that you don't really care about your own people at all. You don't care at all about your own league. You think your league sucks. You do. You have no faith in your own league. You think it's terrible. You think it sucks. And you have to let the people run it for you. It's the same way, and not saying the Archer deal was for that, but it's the same reason I've said time and time again on the show. If you're a GM listening to your people, if you're making trades and deals because of the people, you're fired. That's it. No ifs, ands, or buts. If you're only making something because the public perception or pressure, you're done. That's Manfred. The only thing you do is just after the fact, after whatever happens, you wait on how the public reacts and then you do something. You're so reactionary to stupid stuff. And in mid-season, you change such a big part of baseball to the extreme. Screw you, Manfred. Now, I know you have some other thoughts on this. And I want you to talk about them too. Bring up the conspiracy stuff, because there might be some stuff there too.
There's a lot of potential storylines here, and that was a good rant, and I don't disagree really with any of it. It's difficult though for me to put all the blame. Hold on, let me take that back. I blame Rob Manfred and Major League Baseball for a lot of what is happening right now. I guess it's hard for me to blame, though, the swift decision to just ban it all. And here's what I mean by that. Again, pitchers have always used something, right, to help their grip on the ball. This isn't anything new. It's happened since baseball was invented, right?
Right.
And baseball always, for the most part, they allowed it, right? Because you should be able to grip the baseball so you're not, killing people, right? I mean, it's basically a weapon. I kind of, think of it like let's say you've got a 9-to-5 job Monday through Friday, right? And your bosses let you just kind of slip out Friday afternoon at 3:00 to go play golf, right?
Okay.
Fine. No one's really gonna bat an eye on it. It's fine. Now, though, and especially over the last 4 years that we've seen, 4 or 5 years, you've got pitchers who are taking this, okay, let's just use something to help my grip a little bit more. Now you've got, with all this technology that's available to you, right? You've got these pitchers who are testing out all sorts of different substances and saying, okay, well, not only, before I was using this and it was just it was fine, it was helping me grip the baseball, but now if I use this, it helps me grip it, but it also increases my spin rate by 15%, which is adding 3 inches of break to my slider and making my fastball unhittable, right? They took this extra step, right? Instead of leaving early 3:00 on Friday for golf, they also went ahead and said, hey, I'm going to leave Wednesday and Thursday too to go golf, right?
Right.
That's kind of what has happened here these last few years. And so, if you're a boss and you let your employees go play golf on Fridays, and now they're starting to play golf on Wednesdays and Thursdays, do you just say, hey, no more Wednesday, Thursday golf, you can golf Friday, it's fine? Or you say, you know what, you abused it, you went too far, no more golf for you, right? So I'm kind of thinking it along those lines, hey, you know what, you guys went too far,
right? And that's absolutely true.
So you were doing this, it was fine, it wasn't really providing a huge competitive advantage. Now you've just you've done all this tests, you've taken advantage of what we were letting you do, you've gone too far. No more. It's not happening anymore, right? Because really, I mean, we can we've argued this, we've talked about this for over a year now, that the way that baseball's going, these balls are, what is happening to baseball is the product itself is now borderline unwatchable sometimes, because of what pitchers are doing, right? The pitchers are too good. The balls aren't being put in play. It's slowing down
just
games.
To pause you right there, can we now also finally, once again, stop talking so much about stupid launch angle and all this other BS? And can we now see that once again, the pitching is crazy good right now, and it's on a level where people are cheating that's even that much better? Can we just end that nonsense? I don't want to hear after today launch angle one more time in that stupid context, other than talking about someone's actual launch angle. Put it to bed.
Yeah, the take where, you know, the hitters are I don't think the hitters are the ones ruining this game. It's the pitchers are so freaking good that, I mean, you see Pitching Ninja, and it's like you show the technology and the stuff that's available to these pitchers now and what they've been using have made them just do things that I don't understand how a human body could even make contact, right? I mean, they're tunneling some of these pitches where they look exactly the same until they're 10 feet away from you, and then they end up 4 feet away from each other, right? So you've got these pitchers doing incredible things that have never been done in baseball before, and we're blaming the hitters because they're not able to put the ball in play. So going back to it, the swift, you know what, we're done. We're not allowing this at all. I actually kind of don't have a problem with that. I could see, and in Glasnow's argument, right? It's kind of like a real world example, right? I haven't thrown 80 major league innings this year. I don't know how this is going to affect kind of the real world, right? Is it going to cause more injuries? I mean, what Glasnow makes sense, and what Glasnow talks about makes sense, right? If you can't grip the baseball as well, then you've got to hold it harder, which is going to cause more stress on your forearm, which leads to your elbow. And I mean, it makes sense what he's saying, right? I think it's just one of those things where, like, you got to do something. Like, you can't just say, okay, well, we found this egregious thing that you guys are doing. Hey, guys, just don't do it anymore, please. You know, what's that going to do? It was a tough situation, I think, for Manfred to be in. And believe me, I do not like defending Rob Manfred in any way. I still think he's to blame for a lot of what is going on. But I actually am okay with the whole, you know what, we're going to test everybody. Everybody who comes in the game, we're going to test. If you fail, you get suspended. Because at least they're doing something.
See, that's where I'm sorry. This is why baseball is so bad, because you're at the point where you're satisfied because at least they're doing something. It's still the wrong thing, but we're just so inept about baseball is going to screw up that, well, hey, at least they did something this time. No, like, this is why I have an issue with it. It's so for one, I guess I can understand the ban everything aspect. Like, fine, nothing's good, right? I can understand it to that point, but it doesn't work. And here's why it doesn't work. Because guys that don't truly cheat, guys that have gone golfing, I'll use your metaphor. The metaphor I had in mind was the teacher that uses the open book test. Like, he allowed it. And then one day he says, I'm giving you this test, but you can't use your book today. Like, do you blame the kids? So do you blame people for leaving early every Friday? I don't blame you. I'm jealous and I might envy you, Jim, because I don't get to leave on Friday. You do, but you're allowed. I can't blame you for leaving Fridays. But now, because of some people who went too far, you're not allowed to go out on Fridays. You're not allowed to go home on Fridays, right? I can't blame you because you went home on Fridays. And that's why I look at this. Like, I can't blame Tyler Glasnow for using sunscreen and rosin. You allowed it. Like, I can't blame you for doing it. You allowed it for all this time. So I understand where Glasnow is coming. And because it's such a change right now in mid-season, who knows what's going to come out from this? And again, you've done no studies. Like, baseball, let's think about this time and time. Every year we hear of a new baseball. For an organization that hates change, right? Well, this is the way we've done it since 1800. This is baseball, you know? They just go out there and say, oh, but this year we're just going to change the baseball. Here you go, guys. Surprise. And they wonder why pitchers are changing what they're using, their habit stuff. But, like, you just change. And then now all of a sudden, you know, again, like in mid-season, you're just like, oh, this now is done. It's out of here. Everything. And that's where I have the real problem with it. And I can't get the quote. I know it was said, and I feel like it was Glasnow, who mentioned how they had like the player reps or union or something involved and talk about this.
It was Glasnow.
And they all mentioned how, like, they're all good with something. Like, you need something. Batters, pitchers, everyone, we're all on board that you need something. And disregarding, once again, his own people, Manfred says, nope, I'm not listening. I'm not taking any consideration. It's all gone. How do you also monitor this? Like, every umpire crew is just going to have their interpretation on what's illegal, what's not. It's up to the umps to decide. Well, that's good news. There's nothing like an LMP umpire that makes me get off. You know, like, seriously, the umpire's going to be in charge of this. And then on top of that, like, their big thing is, well, if you have a night game, you don't need sunscreen. So no sunscreen for night games. What? You're telling me if I'm in San Diego and I have a 7 o'clock start, I can't use sunscreen? Do you know my family history? Do you know my father had cancer? Do you know that, like, this? Like, you're going to tell me now I can't wear sunscreen? Seriously, Rob? That's your thing? You can't wear sunscreen at night games? GFY, once again. Terrible decisions.
So I think my thing is I blame everybody. It's everybody's fault. The pitchers are at fault for taking it too far. MLB's at fault for allowing
those
this
pitchers
to happen.
Should be punished. Not literally everyone in the league. Every pitcher and now every batter who is going to have a fastball off the dome, that's their punishment for this.
Again, it comes down to enforcement, though. Like, that's the issue, right? There were pitchers who were taking this too far, and they weren't enforcing it. The rule was already there, and
He's doing it now. And without listening to his own people, he's making the worst decision of how about to go with it. And it can potentially lead to injuries. And I'm not talking, again, just pitchers, talking hitters. I'm talking to whatever. He just said, I don't care about you guys in this league. I don't care about you. I care about my public, brand. That's it. And to do this, like you said, pitchers have to go back and learn. Pitchers can't do this. Well, they have to do this and learn it within 5 days. Because that's their next start. And that to me is the problem. Either you let it happen, you let it go into the season, and you finish it off with just some changes, and then you have an actual off season to decide how you want to truly change and enforce it, or you do nothing at all. Because this half in and now, fully out and now fully in stuff is BS. That's just my take, and I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I think it's good though. This will be good for baseball one day. The timing of it just wasn't right now for how they're enforcing it.
Okay. I mean, I can live with that. I do, and again, like from the player standpoint, the last thing you want to see is injuries, right? Like the very last thing you want to see is injuries. Baseball's better off when their best players are on the field. That is good for the sport, right? I mean, Tyler Glasnow videos on Twitter is good for baseball. When he's just out there dominating. But I think you're right. Like, I think in the long term, cracking down on this stuff is going to be better for the sport.
Yes.
So I don't know. I blame everybody for this. So it's hard for me to get super angry at one.
Start to the top.
It's hard for me to get super angry at one specific person, because I think the blame really needs to be shouldered by everybody.
It's Manfred.
But MLB's definitely a culprit here. I mean, let's be real. They're the ones who have been changing this baseball every year for the last 5 years, it seems like.
Yes.
Heck, they're changing it from regular season to postseason. It's like a completely different ball, even in the same season.
Right. I mean, there you go.
Like, oh, people
like imagine.
Yeah, people are going to be watching now, so we need to make this ball bounce a little bit more.
I actually forgot about that too. Like it literally changed in the postseason. That's so. Oh my god, I hate Manfred so much. I hate him. Imagine any other sport just doing that. Imagine NFL's like, oh, we got to do football here.
Yeah.
I mean, NBA did it once, and it was a disaster, and they got rid of it. But like everyone at least knew about it, and then they got rid of it. It wasn't like coming playoffs. There's a new basketball. All right, let's move on there, because hopefully we'll have a guest podcast this week. Maybe give us some answers on all these questions we have. So tune in for that. But I guess we'll move on. We'll finish the show with our obviously prospects. So a little down on the farm section here. All right, Jim. So we won't go too deep into this. We've taken a lot of time, but we've had some passionate topics to talk about. It was Roansy Day. I'll give you the lead. It was Roansy Day. It's your day, Jim.
Yeah, let me bring up that box score here. But Roansy Contreras Day yesterday, and he
keep saying, I'm sorry, it's Roansy. I keep saying Roansy.
Roansy.
Ethan will correct me. It's Roansy.
He dominated yesterday. And what was cool about it is it was against the Erie Seawolves, Detroit Tigers AA team. You had number 1 overall pick Spencer Torkelson was just promoted there. So, and he just had no answers for Contreras, right? Then you had Riley Green, top, depending on what list you're looking at, he's top 10 prospect in baseball, right? So Riley Green and Torkelson just couldn't hit him at all. 10 strikeouts on the day for Contreras. He gave up 1 earned run, 2 runs total. But yeah, he was looking good last night. And I said Erie didn't really have any answers for him.
No, a very good outing. So, like you mentioned, went 7, which is his longest outing so far on the season, which was nice to see. 10 strikeouts. And again, the talent on the other end. Like, there were some 2 really talented dudes. Torkelson just got his call up, which again was just announced, not last week, as I thought, Jim, when we talked about, because it wasn't the weekend.
Yeah.
It was a Tuesday yesterday. So yeah, Torkelson got called up. No answers. Contreras, get him out of here. He's done. So yeah, it was nice to see against, like you mentioned, some good talent on the other end as well. And Contreras just did the damn thing.
Yeah,
real pleased.
It's kind of cool. Like I know a whole entire one Tigers fan, right? And it was like right after the 7th inning yesterday, he messages me and goes, "Who is this Pittsburgh AA pitcher Contreras?" So I mean, that's kind of cool. You get Tigers fans being like, "Who is this dude?"
Right.
But
we're kind of the same boat. Neither of us really care about the major leagues right now. It's all about the minors. So
that's true. We're probably like 2 of the only organizations out there where the fans are paying attention to a AA baseball game.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's something where, other fan bases even took note, like, oh my gosh, who is this dude who's dominating Torkelson and Green, right? But yeah, excellent start for Contreras. He's now got a 2.03 earned run average on the year. Again, 10 strikeouts last night. Went the 7 innings. I think people kept tweeting out last night, like, that'll be Contreras' day, 5 innings and this, and then it's like, actually he went 6 innings and he finished it. And oh wait, he went a 7th inning. So
right.
Yeah. So
it was like final stat line. It was like 6 innings.
Yeah.
And he retweets like, oh wait, never mind. He's still back out there.
Yeah. So 7 starts now, 2.03. He's gone 40 innings and he struck out 57. And only walked 9.
It's terrible.
So he is looking good.
So when are him, because this will be the next guy. So when are him and Cruz getting on the old bus and driving out west?
Yeah, I mean, I think I said the magic number was 10 starts. So that basically puts him end of the month, I think. I mean, I can't understand. If you're doing that over a 10 start, 10 starts, just move him up. He's demonstrated that he can pitch at that level. I don't see the need to keep him down there.
He's really only had, like, I don't even call this one a blip. It wasn't the best start, a couple weeks ago when he went 5 1/3 and 3 earned runs. Like, his worst start was 4 innings, 5 earned. After that, they've been like gems, which again, like, that was good. Yeah. So he was on this path of just like ridiculousness. Then he had the rough start. Okay, so how do you bounce back from it? He did it in great fashion. Went 6 scoreless. So okay, he could bounce back. Right, then he had the 5 and gave up 3, and since then 1. He had the 1 earned run last night with 10 strikeouts. Like, he's good. He's good, and so is the other guy, right? O'Neal Cruz. He's been doing really good. Player of the week, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he crushed the ball last week. He's now hitting over 300, 155 weighted runs.
I think he went down because of last night, but. Regardless, I think he's at 294. Maybe
Fangraphs hasn't updated here, but I'm looking at his Fangraphs page. But the one thing too that stands out to me is the strikeout rate, DiNardo.
Yes,
lowest it's been since A-ball, since 2018. Strikeout rate is below 25% now, so he's now got that down to a pretty acceptable level.
Very comfortable.
Yeah. And in the meantime, he's raking. He's got 582 slugging percentage. Yeah. And I mean, you're seeing these highlights too that the Curve are putting out there, and these home runs that he's hitting are just monsters. Like, he's crushing the ball.
I'm impressed. This to me is almost like best case scenario for O'Neal Cruz. He was certainly a guy I was most worried on this year because of the lost season. I felt that was going to be like if there's any player that's going to be the most detrimental to it's O'Neal Cruz. Came in this year, he started off okay. I mean, he was productive, but he still showed signs of what you had worries for. We talked about the strikeout rate. It was high, but it wasn't terrible. Like it was something we could live with, knowing the type of player he is. But right, like at this point in time, and I'm sorry, it's 299 right now. I saw it was 294 last night, but I also saw 0 for 4. So he had another at bat. He got a hit, so it's 299, OPS 934. Just one strikeout in the 5 at bats. So right, like the thing is, he's hitting for average, he's hitting for power, and it's not like fluky either. Like the strikeouts are down. That's a really good strikeout rate. Like again, like we can live with that for his profile, the type of player he is. This is all good stuff, And I haven't seen too much, but it does sound as if the swing has tightened up a bit. I don't know when the promotion is for him, but I do believe it's sooner rather than later for sure also.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's got to be soon. If you're looking at it from like where his 2019 was, right? He's basically kind of at that same exact level that they bumped him up from Bradenton to Altoona, right? Mm-hmm. It was after 35 games and 145 plate appearances. Well, he's now at 32 games and 140 plate appearances. So he's kind of right at that level where he's dominated for a level for, a month and a half. And he had some double A at bats in 2019 too. So this isn't like his first go at double A.
Right.
So I mean, he had 120 weighted runs created plus the first time around. He's at 155 now. I think his days in Altoona are getting numbered.
And I know this is a different regime, but that was also one thing about, I was kind of maybe impressed though. Maybe shocked, not so much impressed, but like they kind of fast tracked him, the old regime. I was kind of surprised how quickly he did move up, especially for the type of player he is. I know this is a new regime, the last season, but right, like he's in double A. Yeah, he's now had about 270 plate appearances in a double A setting. So, and right, like it's all been good. It's obviously even much better right now than it was his first go around, but both very good. I'm very impressed. I'm liking what I see out of O'Neal Cruz. I'm more in line thinking this guy can turn out to be a very productive player than, oh man, here's a lot of bust factor to him. He's proven a lot right now.
Yeah, he's definitely got like the difference between his floor and ceiling is probably the highest that I can remember a Pirates prospect having. I mean, because the ceiling is just extraordinary.
Yes.
But then the floor is Gregory Polanco, right? So yeah, you got this player
when Gregory Polanco was good for those few months.
Yeah, not even the good Polanco. We're talking about the now
last
Polanco.
Year's Polanco, like 2020 Polanco.
Yeah. So like he could turn into that, but he could also turn into like Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton type guy, right? Yeah. So who knows? The only way we know is to just kind of keep watching him and progressing through the system. And so yeah, I think Indy's the next step, and I think it's got to come soon.
I can imagine that soon, right? I'm not advocating like, all right, this is his next start's the last one, but I think soon. We're seeing what you want to see out of him. He had that really, really hot week, so I guess kind of see how he continues. But like, if he has another few weeks doing this, like, I think it's time. I mean, I think it makes sense. He is 22. It would make sense, just taking all things out, that he's in PNC next year at some point, right?
Yeah.
So it's the middle of June. You can imagine if July comes, he's in Indy for the next few months. See how he responds and does. He starts out in Indy next year. He gets that call, the middle of the season next year. Like that seems like a right normal track.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what you're
without basing on actual play. So
yeah.
I'm excited. This is getting exciting, man. Good stuff. These players are coming. They're coming, Jim.
It's nice to see him just like be who we hoped he would be. and again, it's AA. So I mean, don't like we still have to. There's still some caution here.
But to this point, because he could have easily came into this year and in AA been terrible. The strikeout rate could be at 40%. And now all those concerns you had are heightened even further.
Yeah. So he's done everything you want him to do at this point.
Even his slugging's at an all-time high, by the way. Like his ISO is at 279. His best ISO before that was 213 in high A.
Dude is raking.
So he's a dude.
He is a dude.
All right.
In Joel Hanrahan's words, he is a bad dude.
Ooh, yes. Anything else you want to talk about prospect-wise, quickly?
Peguero's back, and he's hitting well. So that's good to see. Because when he first came back from his injury, he kind of started off a little slow. He is now all the way back. He had 2 hits last night.
And a stolen base.
And a stolen base. That's correct. But 2 hits last night. I mean, just the past week or so, he's had 3 multi-hit games. So his batting average bottomed out last Monday at 238. Back up to 277 now. So
yeah. Well, it's okay, because I was told on Twitter that the Marte trade was terrible because they got back a low A prospect hitting in the low 200s. But, those Twitter geniuses out there.
There's a lot of Twitter geniuses out there, especially this past week. This past week, I don't know if I can take it anymore.
I like it. I like this type of stuff.
Oh God, some of it is just.
I do like to argue.
It's too much
so
DiNardo.
That could be why. And I feel, as I talk, we've gotten a little soft here, so I don't know. I've been.
When we've got people who are suggesting, when we have people suggesting that the Boston Red Sox are paying off draft analysts to trick the Pirates.
Jim, I'm trying to drink water.
The Boston Reds. Also, I don't know if you guys know about this, but the Boston Red Sox apparently. They're paying all of the draft analysts to throw the Pirates off so that they draft a lesser player so that Jack Leiter and or Kumar Rocker drops to the Red Sox. That is quite a take. And it's the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's very rational to assume and think that any GM in any sport is checking the interwebs to find out who they should draft.
Ben Cherington
I'm sure Ben Cherington is just he just re-upped his Baseball America subscription because he heard the new draft rankings are out.
Yeah,
and
he
now
got
he's
the
on board.
notification on his phone. Notification on his phone. Baseball America mock draft comes out.
Yeah.
Baseball America ranks Lawler number 1. So Cherington actually immediately ran to the draft room.
When teams are firing scouts, the Pirates have added 13 more this year, right? They've paid money to add 13 more just so they can look at Baseball America and say, oh, well, you guys are idiots. You see this stuff? It's Lawler.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
what a take.
Okay. That's that's fun. But with that said, anything else down on the farm you want to actually mention worthwhile?
Quinn Priester, good start yesterday.
Yes.
5 innings, 1 run, 6 strikeouts. He was also first time on TV. First time Greensboro. First time Priester was on TV, by the way. Because Greensboro, for some reason, still hasn't gotten their television, their MILB stuff set up yet. I think it's supposed to come next month. And I don't know if you watched the feed or not. DiNardo, what is wrong with these minor league baseball?
Are way better than that.
What is wrong? I mean, it looks like these minor league baseball games are being shot on like Motorola Razors. Like there's a dude with a razor like standing out in center field, and they're somehow linking that stream and uploading it via dial-up to a server, and then it's coming to our screens. And it's just, how difficult is it to have better production on these things, I guess, is my question.
I don't know. And I give you a lot of credit. I mean, we know it's a person because this is what you see.
Right. Yeah. Like there's someone out there who's doing their best. They probably,
right.
I don't
like, there's no tripod. There's nothing. It's clearly a person who's like on a trampoline or.
we need some better equipment. Yeah, is what we need.
Yeah, I just saw the replay to my motion and that wasn't too good. So, anyways, yeah, man, it's pretty bad. It is pretty bad. I mean, I don't know. I know we just do this, but like, I mean, I can do this. Like what you're seeing on that screen, you know what I mean? If I can do this, how come this minor league team can't put out something better looking on their broadcast? I mean, this isn't even like an high school, you know, TV production crew that's like learning. Like these guys have ended college, I assume, have now gotten jobs. And this is what we're getting. But you know, it's Major League Baseball. It's one way or another, so of course. All right. Yeah. All right. Can we wrap it up there then?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
All right. So we will not be here for NS9 Live tomorrow night. But as we mentioned, we should have a special podcast out for you guys this week that I think you guys will enjoy. So with that said, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
See you guys.